Very good morning to you. Welcome to Breakfast with Dan Walker and Louise Minchin.
The 6 o'clock headlines for you this morning. What now for A-Level and GCSE students? As their exams are cancelled, more details will be announced on how their work will be assessed.
1 million laptops and tablets for children learning at home. The Education Secretary is set to give more details of how schools will be supported.
As the latest lockdown becomes law and the news that 1 in 50 of us now has COVID, a stark warning to follow the rules.
If people don't take the stay-at-home seriously, the risk at this point in time, in the middle of winter with this new variant, is extraordinarily high.
Good morning. Tributes are paid to one of Manchester City's greatest ever players. Colin Bell, known as the King of the Kippax, has died at the age of 74.
Good morning. It's another cold day ahead. Many of us will have a dry day, though, with some sunshine. Fewer showers than yesterday, but later more rain and snow is going to come in from the northwest. I'll have further details in 8 minutes.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 6th of January. Thousands of pupils across England who've had their GCSE and A-levels cancelled are hoping to find out more details today on exactly how their work will now be assessed.
The Education Secretary Gavin Williamson will make a statement to the MPs in the Commons when he'll also unveil a support package for young people following the closure of schools and colleges. Sean Dilley reports.
Gavin Williamson is expected to tell MPs that education remains a national priority, despite the lockdown and the closure of English schools and colleges to most pupils. He will say that the government will not ask pupils to sit A-levels and GCSE exams. In a statement last night, the Department for Education said it would work alongside the exam regulator Ofqual to consult on how to award all pupils a grade to reflect their hard work.
I think it's very important that we notice that this is a different timing of lockdown to what it was last year. And as such, it's vital for students and young people that they have something to aim for. We cannot just let them feel that this is going to be something that's decided for them by teachers and advisors and whatever. It needs to be something they have agency in, because otherwise they won't be learning over the next few months.
Last year, after an algorithm designed to award grades was branded unfair, teachers' own assessments of their pupils were accepted.
With my year group, we went through the algorithm system that was put in place by the government, and obviously that was obviously not effective at all. So hopefully, having gone through that, there's a new year group of kids who will hopefully have a bit more of a revised, a bit more of an effective way to produce these grades.
Meanwhile, the head of the Association of Colleges in England has criticised the government for leaving it to schools and colleges to decide whether to proceed with vocational and technical exams such as BTECs, warning that a lack of clear guidance risks more confusion and uncertainty. Sean Dilley, BBC News.
England's third national lockdown has become law overnight, with MPs set to vote on the stay-at-home restrictions later today.
It comes after the number of new daily confirmed cases of COVID in the UK topped 60,000 for the first time yesterday. Our political correspondent Jessica Parker reports.
The stay-at-home message. Overnight, England's lockdown legally came into force. But it's actually today that the measures will be brought before MPs. The Prime Minister will address the Commons before an expected vote, after yesterday outlining progress on the vaccine.
We've now vaccinated over 1.1 million people in England and over 1.3 million across the UK. And that includes more than 650,000 people over 80, which is 23% of all the over 80s in England.
On the vaccine, Labour says ministers must deliver. The party will back the lockdown today. Boris Johnson said that by mid-February, with hopes for the vaccine rollout, there was the prospect of beginning the relaxation of some measures. But there are warnings too that the virus could be with us for some time.
If people don't take the stay-at-home seriously, the risk at this point in time, in the middle of winter with this new variant, is extraordinarily high. What is going to happen over time is the risk level is gradually going to decrease. It's not going to be, it's really bad and then suddenly it stops. And we'll then get, over time, to a point where people say this level of risk is one that society is prepared to tolerate, and lift, right down to almost no restrictions at all. We might have to bring a few in the next winter, for example. That is possible.
any rebellion by Tory MPs here today is expected to be smaller than those seen late last year on restrictions, with an acceptance the current health picture is stark. With the rules now in force, the government's also urging everyone to follow them. Jessica Parker, BBC News.
The World Health Organization has said it does not recommend following the UK's decision to delay giving the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine for 12 weeks. Initially, the plan was to offer the follow-up jab 21 days after the first one, but the UK government has changed the strategy so more people can be vaccinated quickly. The World Health Organization says the second dose should be given 3 to 4 weeks after the first.
US politicians will meet today to confirm Joe Biden's victory in the presidential election. This is amid protests from President Trump supporters.
Some Republicans have pledged to support Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn the result by formally objecting at the session, but it's a bid that's almost certain to fail, as our correspondent Barbara Pletasher reports.
This is a big day in America's never-ending election, but the city is filling up with people who are not coming to celebrate. They're making a last stand in a doomed attempt to keep Donald Trump in power because they're convinced he won. He didn't.
I do.
And now that Congress is back to work, it's set to put the final seal on Joe Biden's presidential victory. But dozens of Republican lawmakers are planning to challenge the results, mindful of the protesters outside.
They're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
President Trump's been turbocharging the opposition, preaching massive election fraud, promoting the Washington March, and threatening Republicans who don't fall in line. Americans who've bought into his baseless claims have been protesting for months. Activists, fans, and militia groups. Violence broke out at 2 previous Stop the Steal rallies here in Washington. This time, the mayor has called out the National Guard. Off the street, the battle has splintered the Republican Party.
We've seen in the last 2 months unprecedented allegations of voter fraud.
Senator Ted Cruz is leading the group of rebels trying to upend the election. Other Republican officials have denounced the futile move as an attack on American democracy. Some have added their names to a bipartisan statement. The 2020 election is over.
Hello, hello, hello.
For Joe Biden, it is. He's focused on the work ahead, dealing with the nation's COVID crisis.
The president spends more time whining and complaining than doing something about the problem. I don't know why he still wants the job. He doesn't want to do the work.
There's no doubt that Joe Biden will be president, but this campaign could undermine his legitimacy among conservatives. And it shows the political strength that Donald Trump might still have, even when he leaves office. Barbara Pletasher, BBC News, Washington.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.